Well, hello everybody, isn't this relaxing? Welcome to the ocean. This video is going to be about the Bimmyverse and the people surviving off of the scraps from the Bimmyverse. Bimmy being James Rolfe, and he is represented by the great white shark because he is the biggest, he is the best, and he's getting a little older, don't get me wrong, but he still is producing content and it's decent enough. He's started this industry, he's paid his dues, he simply does not give a rip. He is the apex predator. Bimmy gobbles up all the ad revenue because he is an apex predator. He gets all the monetization from ad revenue, he gobbles up all of the sponsorship deals. He is commercially viable. He lives off of his income from his show. Like I said before, James started an entire industry of reviewers and video game content on the internet. Without him, most of us wouldn't be here, or at least we wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now. So we start adding some new characters like Scott the Woz, who I have depicted as a bird because he kind of just flies over and he squawks and he gobbles up all of the money that he can, and he stays above it all because he's probably one of the higher IQ people in this orbit, okay? He is, he's kind of on his own and intelligent. That's why I depicted him as a bird, just above it all. Then we have people like PB, you know, he's down here doing what PB does. He's probably smoking some ganja. And we've got Asmund off in the distance, represented as a whale shark. He's just too big to care, too big to notice anything. Nobody wants to go against him. He's not of consequence to anyone, and no one is of consequence to him. He is a whale shark. And then we've got guys like Jihad here. He is, you know, kind of in the middle here with the PBs and stuff like that because, you know, he's disgraced. His only real talent is stealing money from people. And then we've got Sloppy Joe. Sloppy Joe, he's a tuna. He's mad that he's not a majestic, more cool-looking fish. And then we've got Pat the NES Punk, represented as a weird dolphin because, I mean, come on, it's Pat. You know, these people are not necessarily bad people. They're just, well, I mean, with the exception of Jihad, but they just kind of get by with ripping off the original, the great one, okay? And then we've got guys like Sex Pervert, who is represented as some type of slimy octopi creature, or potentially squid. I don't know what the difference is. I'm just an electrician. And then as we start going down further and further and further, we get down to the ocean floor. And this is where things get really interesting. This is where the diversity starts to emerge. Because up here, everybody's doing pretty much the same thing. Everybody's trying the same shtick. Everyone's trying to do what the Great One does. And they have varying levels of success. But then when we get to the ocean floor, that's where diversity really begins because these are the people that have to scrap for every little scrap. We've got the Sloshes, represented as an eel, because I just thought he looked like an eel. And then we've got Long Hair, who is represented as a snail, because I just don't imagine him moving very quickly. I mean, he has wonderful hair, absolutely wonderful hair, but I just don't imagine he has the ability to get out of his own way, and he leaves a slime trail wherever he goes because he's too busy glazing Nintendo, so he's like... And then we've got this guy, I don't remember what I called him. I think I called him Fat Viking, but really I think he's just like Top Knot, and he's a lobster. I don't know. He just looks sad. I kind of feel bad for him. And then we've got background noise, represented as some type of coral thing, and it's EJ, because EJ's really not interesting in any capacity. He has no real talent. He has no real personality. He's boring. All he does is filter. And he's like background noise. So that's why I put him behind the coral, whatever this thing is, because he's just filtering. He basically just exists and breathes. And then we've got Krabby. Krabby is Frankie, represented by the crab. A greedy little crab grabbing whatever he can. You know, with his gay cowboy hat on. So this is the cast, this is the crew. Actually, there's one more, but we won't talk about him until later. Anyway, so this is the cast. This is kind of the ecosystem of the Bimmyverse. The Bimmyverse is, you know, it is Bimmy and his actual crew, but these are the people that kind of subside off of the Bimmyverse. They kind of exist because of the Bimmyverse, and they exist off of the Bimmyverse in some capacity over the years. Some of these guys have been featured on the show, some of these guys have featured Bimmy on the show, and some people, just like the bottom feeders down here, all they do is talk about the people that are above them, and they grab onto those scraps. And what those scraps look like is this. So when a creature eats something, it has to produce waste. And that waste is called shit. So the great white poops, right? And it cascades all over Pat the NES Punk. Now, Pat doesn't eat the shit. He just likes to live in it. He just likes it to cascade all over him. That's why he's having that pose of ecstasy as it like covers him. And then PB, he has no idea what's going on. He's high, you know? But the poop cascades down and eventually it reaches the ocean floor. And that's when things get really interesting. That's when our boy here, Krabby, or Frankie, can finally start eating. And he goes to town. And EJ sits there and filters. And snails do whatever snails do, and this guy does whatever he does, and then it goes over here, you want some too? And that's how things work here. The shit ends up on the ocean floor, and the bottom feeders eat the shit. That's how these people survive. They have to eat shit. They have to eat waste in order to make content, because they have no ability or talent to make their own content. They have to talk about other people in order to be relevant on the internet. And that's the only reason why you even know about these people on the bottom. Everybody else, they make stuff. They're talented, or were talented, or are just so big it doesn't matter anymore. And you might be asking, like, well, who are you to judge? Who are you to judge? Like chicken? Like, how can you judge these people? You are just as bad as them because you're making content about all of them. And to that I say, I somewhat agree with you, but I don't grift off of what they do. I talk about what they do, but I don't grift. That's the separation. And this is how I'm represented. I'm just like a deep sea diver. I'm just exploring, and I'm kind of like National Geographic, or, you know, when you watch those shows about the ocean and all that kind of stuff. All I'm doing is tromping around in my old diver suit, and I'm like, wow, this place is diverse and strange. This place has all types of weird characters. Huh, that's weird. Huh, you know, I'm gonna categorize these people and catalog these people and make a video about it. And that's kind of how I see my role in all of this. Look at what's going on and then just make a little story about it or make a joke about it. Some people take it the wrong way. Some people get covered in shit and their hands are all covered in shit and they don't know what to do. Whereas other people just, you know, let the shit roll off their back because they're above it, like Scott the Woz. While other people live off of the shit. They consume the shit. They are shit. Okay? So this is kind of what I wanted to show you guys, and this took way longer than it needed to because I'm terrible at any type of Photoshop. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm just gonna exit over here. So take care, everybody. Did you hear that sound? Oh God, everybody get out of here. Get out of here now.